Hey there, geometry. We are in Unit 1, Lesson 21, sort of wrapping things up on what we've been working on all unit. So let's just jump on in and get started. Looking at this warm-up, what went wrong? So here are two lines, L and M, that are not parallel and have been cut by a transversal. Tyler thinks that angle EBF, which is this angle right here, is congruent to angle BCD, this angle right here, because they're corresponding angles. And a translation along the directed line segment from B to C would take one angle onto another. Here are his reasons. The translation takes B onto C, which is true. So the image of B is C. So really I could write a B prime there. The translation takes E somewhere on ray CB, because the translation takes lines parallel, because it would need to be translated by a distance greater than BC to land on the other side of C, okay? The image of F has to land somewhere on line M because the translations take lines to parallel lines, and line M is the only line parallel to L. Well, that's not true. They're not parallel to each other. So F doesn't land somewhere on line M, okay? We call the image of F, call it F prime, has to land on the right side of BC, or else line FF prime wouldn't be parallel. So they're saying that when you translate this, it's going to translate down on a line parallel to this line. Well, that is true, but the length of the directed line segment BC is about that length, which means F prime would end up somewhere down there. So they're not congruent. Okay, so we're just going to debunk it all right there. EBF and BCD are not congruent. If we translated it, it would not be congruent, okay? When you translate, you do translate along a parallel line, but line L and line M have to be parallel for the angles to be congruent, okay? So we're just going to stop it right there. But let me double check there isn't something else that I want you to know. Let's see. We can call that one true, and this one true, but that is very false. Just want to make sure. Cool. And part 2, your teacher will assign you one of Tyler's statements to think about. Is the statement true? Explain your reasoning. In what circumstances are corresponding angles congruent? Be prepared to share your reasoning. When you have a pair of parallel lines and a transversal, corresponding angles are congruent, okay? The only time it's true. We went over that in the last lesson. Okay, so we're actually going to do this lesson in GeoGebra. Let me open it up here so I can read it, because I cannot transfer my face to a different tab. I'm going to have to stop it here and call it part 1 and then open up a part 2, okay?